Hi Quincy, let's play some Minecraft. You're playing on the iPad version, and so things are probably going to look a little bit different. I only have the computer version, but let's get started. I think on the iPad version you don't have the single player or multiplayer thing. There's something about realms, which is the same as multiplayer, but for now we're going to play single player. And then we're going to create a new world. I think you just have a new button. I think you've already got this all done though. But I'm going to have to catch up a little bit here. So I'm going to say create new world. I'm going to call this, let's play. Let's talk about game modes for a minute here. So Minecraft's a game mainly about building stuff, but there are a few other things going on. The default mode here is something called survival, and that means that you have to find everything. Like if you want to build bricks, you have to get all the clay, and if you want to make wooden tools, you have to knock down a tree and go through all the steps. There's also, I don't think the iPad version has hardcore, and it's not super fun anyway because you only get to go once. And then there's also creative mode, and it has flying, and you can get as many of any kind of block as you want. So that may be something that you want to consider. Also, there are no monsters. But I think for now I'm going to go ahead and show survival. I think that's what most people play. One other thing to look at here when you create a world is that under more options, it may be called something else, there's something called a seed, and you can type anything you want here, but it's good to write it down, because whatever you type here, if you type it again another time when you play, you'll get exactly the same kind of world. So if something happens and your game gets lost, you can start over. So I'm going to call this Quincy is awesome. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And this is one of the best parts of playing Minecraft right here, is starting a new world. Alright, let's see what we've got. Oh, I've been dumped in the snow. So let's talk for a minute about what we're doing. And like I say, it's mostly a game about building. It's like having a giant Lego set. Basically everything you see here is something that you can pick up and put down somewhere else, and so you can build anything you want. Also, basically everything is useful. So, I mean, you can even knock this snow off, and well, I didn't get them then, but normally you get snowballs, which can even be handy. But another option is that some people just really like to run around and explore. They're not as interested in building, or they build little things everywhere. And so you can just, some people play the game totally for that aspect of it. A lot of other people like to get online and play multiplayer with their friends. I often play with my brother, for example. So there are a lot of different options, and keep in mind, like I say, that everything can be useful, and you can pick up and put everything back down practically. I see I grabbed that flower and now it's in my hand. I can just plop it back down again. Let's talk about what you're seeing on the screen here. Below, you see some hearts. That tells you how much health you have, and so if you fall off things, you get hit by things, or you stay in water too long, you lose health. And so when you get to no hearts, you die. And you have to go back and find your stuff and start over again. Let me demonstrate here. Oh, wow. That's a feature called the ravine. I was going to show you the hearts by falling off of something, but that's a little too much. Let's do it here. See how I fell down just that far and I took off 2 hearts. So that brings me to the other thing. If you see the little pieces of meat over on the right side, that's how hungry you are. And when you have all of those full, you automatically get hearts back. So you can see now I have all my hearts again. Those little pieces of meat represent how hungry you are. So if you're hungry, you don't get your hearts back. Now, let's get started here. One thing to keep in mind too is that you can see that the sun is slowly moving up. There's a normal day and night cycle. It takes 20 minutes. at nighttime, at least in survival mode, is when the monsters come out. And so by the time it's nighttime, you want to be ready. And so I'm going to get started here. Typically I would find someplace more interesting to start. I don't like these snowy areas, but we'll work with what we've got. So the first thing that I want to do is I need to build some shelter, because that way I have someplace where I can stay for the night and the monsters can't get to me. And that always starts the same way. They call it punching wood, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that lets me pick up a piece of wood. You can see it popped in my hand, and then it's down there in my inventory bar under my hearts and food. I'm going to go ahead and punch this tree most of the way down. I'm not sure I can reach all of it. But as you can see, as each one I knock down, I get a new block in my inventory. And your inventory is just what you're carrying. Okay, now that I've taken all the wood out of this tree, it's slowly going to fall apart. One thing that can happen, now not with this type of tree, but there's a tree called an oak tree, is that sometimes you can knock them down and you'll get apples. But anyway, apples you can eat to refill your hunger. So the first thing that we need to do, and this may be very different on the phone, I'm not sure, but we need to turn these logs, the wood you get directly from trees they call it logs, go figure. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put that here in this, and they call this space the crafting grid. And you can see when I put those in there, it says each one of these will turn into 4 planks. And planks are what you need to build practically everything out of wood. So I pick them up, and there I get 4 planks, and now I have only 5 pieces of wood. And you can just keep doing that till you run out. Now you can see that this crafting grid is very small. And so most recipes actually are bigger than this. Now I think in the phone version you actually don't see the recipes, you just have a menu where you can pick things. So the first thing that we need to make so we can build bigger things is called a crafting table. And that's just 4 planks, remember planks, not logs, in a pattern like this, crafting table. And you just sort of have to remember that one. Most of them have shapes that make sense, but that one kind of doesn't. Alright, so you can see now I have it in my hotbar. You can see it down below my hearts as well. And so I'm going to change over to it, and then I'm just going to put it down. Oh, one thing you can see is now that I knocked this tree down, I'm getting these little guys. These are called saplings, and you can use them to plant a tree. And so if I put one down where that tree was, eventually it'll grow a new tree. And you can see that I got 3 saplings from one tree, so it's a good way to get more trees. If I planted all 3 of these, I would obviously have 3 trees when I started with 1. But anyway, you can see I have a crafting table. And now I'll open it up, and you can see a much bigger crafting grid. And so what we want to do is we want to build a house, and we'll probably just build it out of wood because we have a lot of that around. And so you can see that when I break these trees with my hand or this sapling, it's very slow. And so we'd like to make that go faster. And so what do you use to cut down trees? Well, these days I use chainsaws, but traditionally you used an axe. So if you think about an axe, it's got a handle and then a head. And so we want to make the handle. And so you can see I put 2 of these planks in a pattern like this, and it can go anywhere. And I get 4 sticks. Alright. And then if you think about the shape of an axe, it's made of a handle, so 2 sticks make the handle, and then it's made of a head, and then it's got a head. And so the head, you can see it's sort of shaped like an axe. It's a little bit goofy, but you can see the basic. And now we have an axe. And so now that lets us cut down trees faster, and we need a lot of wood to make a house. See, it's a little bit faster. So we'll just gather up a few of these. An odd skinny tree. Oh, and then one thing to keep in mind too is that practically everything is useful. Like I can use this flower, I picked it up, and I can use it for something, like I could just replant it. But it also, if you put it in your crafting grid, you can see that it can be turned into dandelion yellow. So that might be interesting to use for something later. I don't think we have anything we can do with it right now, but that won't always be the case. Okay, I'm going to chop down one more tree. This is super exciting to watch. And I'm going to turn all of these logs to planks. I don't know how it works on the phone. On the computer, you can just hold down the shift key and click, and they all get turned. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build a little house. Well, so you don't want to start off too big, because you don't, if you look up in the sky, you can see that I'm running out of time. The sun is starting to set, so I need to get something built. So I just start putting blocks down. I'll have my front door facing the water there. So this isn't going to be a great house to start off with. For me, for starters, it's going to be tiny. But you got to start somewhere, right? Go ahead and put a roof on. And we'll work on making something that looks better, probably in the next video. But I just wanted to show you the basics. Alright, so now we kind of need a door. Now you're going to notice one thing. Okay, now if you think briefly what a door looks like, it's kind of tall and narrow. And so if you lay out the wood in the same way, look, a door. The doors are a little bit strange. The way you're facing when you put them down determines which way they open. So like if you can see, you click on a door, it opens. Alright, so I've got a cozy little house, and mostly nothing can get in here. Oh, I left some things. Go ahead and replant this tree. It's a good idea to replant the trees you cut down, and then that way you'll always have some. So one thing that we need now is we need a way to make some light, because as you can see it's getting dark, and in my house it's going to be super dark. Also, let's clean this snow up. Nobody wants snow in their house, that's just silly. And actually let's clean up this dirt too, I'd rather have a wood floor. And one thing too is that you can be creative. All of these blocks look different, and so if it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't make sense what you might pick, but if you like the way something looks, like, I don't know, let's put one of these logs next to here, and so now you can have alternating patterns on the floor, for example. It doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to have a log as your floor, but, whoops, that's weird. I wonder, it's showing me the side of the log. Let's see, now I have kind of an interesting checkerboard floor. See, it's getting dark. So, but this is probably the most important thing in Minecraft until you get the hang of it, is to always have a place to be safe during the night, because like I say, the monsters come out at night. Thank goodness, it looks like the sun is coming back up. You can, you could hear it out there a moment ago. Yeah, there you hear it. Zombies rooting around. While I was waiting for the sun to come back up, I made another crafting table in my house, so I didn't have to go outside. And then I also made a sword that lets me fight the zombies. If you imagine what a sword looks like, you can sort of see how this goes together. It's a handle, and then a blade, and that makes a sword. The zombies burn up in the sunlight. Alright, so now you'll notice in the bottom right hand side where the meat is, I'm starting to get hungry. And you'll see my hearts aren't coming back anymore. I had a little set to with the zombies over the course of the evening. So there are a couple of ways to get food. One is you can kill these pigs. There are also chickens, cows, and sheep. All of them can provide some kind of food. That's one option. It's fast and easy. Another option is to go around and punch the grass until you get some seeds. There, see seeds? Then you can plant these and they'll grow into wheat. In order to plant them though, you need a tool. It's called a hoe, and it's used for making, turning the earth so you can plant in it, and getting weeds and other stuff. You may not have seen one. Hoes are kind of an old-fashioned tool a little bit. And one is made like this. It's a handle, and then two blocks like that for the head. And so now, if I go over here, and you want to grow plants, you need dirt and water, basically. And so I'm going to plant right over here by the water. So you used the hoe, and that made it look like farmland. And then I can put these seeds in, and eventually, if we wait long enough, that'll grow into wheat. Yeah, I'm not going to eat you. No, just keep looking. So it takes a little bit of time, and I may be in trouble by then. So we'll see. Another option, if you have them, is that sometimes there are watermelons. I don't think any can grow in these snowy areas, but I could be wrong. Another option is if I had some string, I could make a fishing pole and catch fish to eat. One thing these things all have in common, however, is that I'm going to need to be able to cook. And in order to be able to cook, I need to make a furnace. To make a furnace, and a furnace is kind of like an oven, although it's more generic than that. You can't just cook food in it, you can cook other things too. That'll make more sense in a minute, maybe. So, but in order to make a furnace, we need stone. And in order to get stone, we need to dig. To dig, we need a shovel. Shovel's made like that, a handle and a head. Alright. So this is just dirt, obviously. It's got grass growing on top of it. And I'll just dig down, and eventually, right there, is stone. Looks like stone. So in order to dig through stone, watch this. Our shovel can't really dig through that. It will eventually, but it'll break. Break the shovel, and we won't get that rock. So we need a tool specifically for digging through rocks. That's a tool called a pick. A pick is made of a handle. Almost all tools have a handle in common, which is 2 sticks, and then a head like this. A pick. When I go down here, you'll see now, oh, I got a piece of stone. And so in order to make if you think about what your oven looks like, it looks like a metal box, right? And a box would be something like that. Now I don't have enough wood. Oh, that's funny. That makes a boat. But you can imagine a box would look like this. Now in our case, we want to make that out of stone. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of stone. Only got 2, so I gotta keep digging. So shovel for dirt, pick for stone. Need 8 stone. Dirt is also useful. You can build things out of it. You can build things out of any of these blocks. So, alright, so now I have 11 stone. So let's make our furnace. Remember I said just a box like your oven. Ta-da! A furnace. Now a furnace needs 2 things to work. If you look in here you can see that. It's got something, you can see here it looks like flames, so there's something that burns and provides heat to cook, and then something to cook, and then whatever you cook comes out here. And so in our case, like I said, I'm not going to leave him alone. He may be more useful later, so we got to find something that we can cook. One thing that you may be wondering is like, wow, it's really dark around my house. One thing that we can cook is we can cook pieces of wood to make charcoal, and we can use charcoal to make light. So let's get some more wood. You need tons of wood in this game. And you can dig up pretty high, and that's it. So, in order to make charcoal, we need something that we can burn. So in this case, we burn wood. And you can see I don't know why it is you burn planks. You use planks as fuel, and then you burn something else. See, I got a piece of charcoal. Now, I'm not going to use up all my wood because I don't have much right now, but you can see once that's lit up, it'll keep going. So we'll see if we can get 3 pieces of charcoal. I'm not sure we can. We did. Awesome. Alright, now we have charcoal. In order to make light, you know, there are lots of things that give off light. Light bulbs, handles, and this is a game of simple things, and so something closer to a candle is what you want. In this case, we're looking for something called a torch. A torch is a handle, wooden handle, and then something that burns, so our charcoal. So you can see each combination makes 4. So there we go. And now torches, you can put around, like I'll put one on over my door. And then I want to put one inside because it's really dark in there. And then you can put them on the ground. I have to move the snow. And it'll provide light in a circle around it. One thing that's important about, oh, you see it's also melting the snow. One thing that's important to know about light in this game is that it's not just that monsters come out at night, they come out when it's dark. And so if you light things up, monsters don't come out anymore, or only very rarely. But it takes a lot of light to do that. Let's mark the entrance to our hole here so it'll fall in. There we go. So a couple of torches. And so, anyway. But you can also use, like if I had some chicken or some pork, which comes from pigs, I could cook it here. But we're going to wait for our wheat to grow, and so hopefully I live long enough. One thing that you may notice is that this dirt turned a darker color. That means it's getting water. If I go over here and use my hoe, and you see how it's a lighter brown? And I think it'll stay that way. I don't think it's close enough for water for it to turn the darker color. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording for a minute and wait for this wheat to grow so we can see how to turn that into bread. Still waiting for my wheat to grow here. You can see, you'll notice it grows in stages. You can see that over here it's really short, a little bit taller, a little bit taller. We're looking for it to turn a darker color. That's how you can tell it's ready to be harvested. Anyway, back in a minute when that's done. Here you can see something a little interesting. You can see I have all my hearts and food back. I just died. I fell in this hole. You can see all my stuff fell out, so I'm going to go back and pick it all back up. Anyway, back in a little bit. I've been working on doing a little mining down in the hole here, and I wanted to show you briefly that you can make tools out of other things. Recall that I was talking about making a pick with a handle and the 3 blocks as a head. You can also use stone, and that gets you a slightly better pick. Anyway, back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. You can see what I was talking about earlier. Some of my wheat has turned darker color. So let's pull that out, and we can make some bread. So I can eat. You can see that I have no more food on the bottom right. That's slowly making my hearts go away. Now, starving can't kill you in this game, but it is super annoying. Okay, anyway, here's how we make bread. You think about what a bread loaf looks like. It's kind of a long, skinny thing. And just like that, you put wheat in a row, and bingo, you get bread. You can put it on your bar, and eat it. And I get a little bit of health pack, see? So, I need to make a bunch more bread, but it's basically how it works. And we'll plant our wheat again and go again. Anyway, I think that's probably all for this evening. Next time, if you're still interested, we can talk about a few more advanced things and make a nicer looking house. I'll talk to you later.